into a big part of our schedule. So with it's going to be a busy time. We're going to spend a lot of time on the road, but it's really going to show how far has our work come. So you were correct at 17-8 on the season. That's on pace for what we believe will be our 13th straight 20-win season. Got 6 games, regular season matches left, and then you add in the postseason. So
right.
we're excited about where we stand right now and how we match up.
Well, like I said, just a whole lot going on. We're going to talk about Major League Baseball playoffs in a little bit. There's lots of football going on. The 139 Bowl is Friday night out at Tiger Stadium with Trigg County coming in, and that's the longest continuous rivals on each team's schedule, so that's a big matchup coming up. But district play is next week, and if you're a Caldwell County fan, the place to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is Madisonville. We're going to start with soccer on Monday night. Both Caldwell County teams will play Hopkins County Central. The girls is at 5:30, and the guys will follow that about 7:30. For volleyball, Caldwell County is already in the championship game of the 2nd region tournament, or the 7th district. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. But the 7th district tournament championship game will be Tuesday night in Madisonville. The Lady Tigers are already in the title tilt. They will wait on either Madisonville or Hopkins Central to win that game Monday. And then the soccer finals are on Wednesday. So, again, if you're a Caldwell County fan, the place to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's pretty simple. Madisonville.
Yeah, they got the draw, and the weird part about this year is that's Madisonville's fall break.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to be hosting everything over there, and it's our fall break as well, and that's something that as a coach kind of makes you a little nervous because they get in such a routine.
Right.
Go to class, run and get some food real quick, get on a bus, and go travel. Our advantage is with volleyball and the Breeders' Cup in Louisville this year, it moved our season up a whole week. So I actually played 3 matches this year before school started. So we kind of got into to figure out some tests back in August to see what works good to make sure that the girls are up, they're moving, they're in a routine of their own to kind of get up and get ready to play. So still a little nervous about Tuesday night. You don't want them laying around in bed till 2 that afternoon and catch a bus at 4. So we'll see how that goes closer to time.
Well, it's interesting that late in the season you really came down to having a really tough schedule. You played University Heights the other night and got a 3-0 win there, although each set was pretty competitive. Then you've got Henderson tonight, and then you've got some teams over in Hopkinsville on Friday and Saturday that should give you a good test too.
Yeah, this tournament in Hopkinsville is really it's about doubled in quality this year. I know Paducah Tillman took a set off Owensboro Catholic last week at Paducah. But this tournament in Hoptown is one you kind of, do you want to play that many matches 3 days before the district tournament, or do you not? How do you want to go about that? But I think it's a good test. I think it's a good show of where we are, and it's really a good way to keep them focused that last weekend before you make your last run.
Well, I was going to ask, where do you find time to practice with all those matches going on and then the district tournament right behind it?
I talked to him yesterday that I thought it had been July since we actually did a full fundamental drill. Here's a skill set, let's work on it, let's do this fundamental drill and let's work on it. For the most part, it's just based off of scrimmage time. And if you see something, well, you stop at the end and go. But, we've kind of been through film studies and scrimmage things like that in practice. Once we hit full speed, I don't really like slowing them back down and running a slower drill.
Well, the match tonight is at Henderson County. Henderson County ranked number 1 in the region. I think they've won the region 3 straight years now. Mm-hmm. We're number 2, and we've kind of been in that number 2 spot for a while. How do the teams kind of match up?
Henderson is still got Hannah Watkins, and it was my preseason pick for Player of the Year. Phenomenal young lady on and off the court. She's about 6'1", 6'2", and can really make her own offense. That's who they're going to lean on all over the floor. She plays 6 spots. So, if we can get in and try to avoid or just weather her storm, I think we've got a pretty good chance. But the thing that I like is, every time somebody has mentioned Henderson in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the smiles are just getting bigger. My girls are really anticipating this match. They're really looking forward to it. So that's what I'm looking for tonight, is to see, can we take the emotions out and just go play what I'll call a regular ball game. But they've got they're young. They graduated 4 last year that really carried them through the regional championship against us, but it's Henderson. They just turn around and reload.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you've played a really good schedule this year to get, prepared for, the matchup with Henderson and just the second region overall, but the record's 17-8. Maybe that's not the most impressive record, but a lot of that is because,
right.
And we're a little spoiled with volleyball because, as you mentioned, you're going for your 13th straight 20-win season. So when we see 17-8, well, that's just kind of, an average year.
It is. Of those 8 losses, last night I looked, and 4 of them are still currently ranked in the top 25. I'm not sure how South Warren is not. That's another one of our losses. Final Four team from last year. I think they played too many of their games out of state to really get appreciation around here. But, 5 of those losses, and then we just kind of laid an egg when we went to Central Hardin that weekend of that tournament. 3 of the losses came off of that one. You can take quality, and I do believe in a quality loss. If you look good and it's somebody that will expose a weakness for you that you can fix. And when you're playing top 25 teams, if you've played that many, it's about an average of once a week we'll play somebody solid.
But I think you'd rather have a few losses on your record and have played that stiff competition, because we've seen other teams in the past, different sports, that they would come in with a 20-1 record, but they hadn't really been tested by anybody. And I think I'd rather have those losses and know where my team is.
It's a fine line. You have to learn how to win, and there's truth to that. But you also, sometimes they say, okay, I'm playing full speed because we won last week playing full speed. So you have to go get that test, and our sport is so much different. You might not play a full team, but almost every team has one above average athlete on it that you kind of have to work around and go from. So I would much rather play a tough schedule.
Well, and you've got some really good players. That's the thing that has impressed me the most. Even going back to when volleyball started in 2001, there were always good athletes willing to come out and play. And, of course, Sue Stone was so instrumental in getting that started and making sure all those players knew how to play. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like every year you talk about Henderson reloading. Well, Lady Tigers do a pretty good job of that, too.
Yeah. There's really only one coach that gets to say that we rebuild, and that's our freshman coach. Mm-hmm. And we tell Casey, you can kind of reload and go through some fundamentals, but I don't have that luxury. So, that's the thing that Coach Stone really impressed upon us is our 4th and 5th grade league, our middle school league, freshman JV varsity, they're going to do bump set spike. It's not going to be, hey, let's just hurry up and get the ball over, scramble around, and look like chaos. And early on in the season, our freshman team, you can say that they struggle because they don't win as big as you think they should against some teams, but we're committing errors that are at a higher risk level, at a higher level than what the opponents are doing. So, yesterday in practice, I was almost going freshman against varsity and was very pleased with what I saw.
Well, we've actually seen times in the past where the JV was right there with the varsity, and some of the toughest matches were going on in practice.
They are, and that's how you go. A couple years ago, we had 3-peat in the region. Is that team every year? Well, our whole schedule this year isn't as tough as what we practiced every single day last year, and it really keeps the energy up. It really keeps everything going. And then if you ever sneak a varsity kid over to the what you would call the JV side to scrimmage against them, the level of play and practice can stay pretty consistent.
You've got the West Kentucky Smackdown tournament coming up Friday and Saturday over in Hopkinsville. I think our pool play games are at Hopkinsville High School. Mm-hmm. 16 teams in that tournament. Talk a little bit about that and just a chance to keep improving as you go into the postseason.
We've got 2 games Friday night with Muhlenberg County and Paducah Tillman. I saw where you wrote up and we talked a little bit. This tournament has got Caldwell thumbprints all over it. Paducah Tillman has an assistant, Adair Wolford, bass singer, is going to be coaching. I got a chance to see her this past weekend and watch a little bit of her team. They are much improved at Paducah Tillman. Then Saturday morning we'll step in and play Graves County. As I said, the weekend up at Central Hardin, Graves County was one of our losses. So we get to kind of try to right that ship a little bit. So we're kind of excited with that game. I think the Graves County game will be the pivot of going to the gold round or silver round. And by going gold, you'll almost double your chances at playing top-level teams. Livingston dropped out this year late, and Southwestern picked up Southwestern has beaten Hopkinsville at a tournament early in the year. They took a set off McCracken, and to step into the tournament and be in the same pool as OCAF, which is who we will play if we go gold, we're not going to get an easy first-round match over there for that one. So Saturday's going to be a really, really big day for us.
Well, and mention some of those other girls that are now assistant coaches that were former Lady Tiger standouts. I mean, just it's kind of like football and basketball. I used to always marvel at how many former Caldwell County players there were that were coaches, and now volleyball's falling right into that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not as knowledgeable about other schools and other programs. Through coaching club now, I kind of see how other people teach. But growing up and playing sports in Caldwell and now having the opportunity to coach, I don't think we teach just skills and just, hey, let's go win tonight. I think the thing about Caldwell sports is we teach you how to coach. And when you look at Sue Stone's lineage, she's got coaches scattered all over the way. I've got, Casey Stone McCoy, her daughter, is on my staff. You look at Crittenden County, they've got Bailey Tucker McDonald on their staff. And then Aaron Harper is at UHA on their staff, running their freshman programs and a varsity assistant. So when you can kind of spread that out, this past year in club, we had 10 coaches. 7 of them were from Caldwell or direct descendants. So, we've got an ability to take and learn and then go teach. So, it's going to be fun. Everywhere we turn around this weekend, it's going to be somebody we know.
Caldwell County is at Henderson County tonight. Again, that's the 2 top teams in the second region. Lady Tigers next week going for their 12th straight district volleyball championship. And do want to remind everybody, Gary's here. Hello, Gary. Good morning.
Hello. I didn't want to interrupt this great volleyball conversation, but I do have a question, Daniel, if you have a moment. I noticed you brought up the 4th and 5th is where you start. If you have a girl and she's starting sports, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, where they start other sports, what skills would you look at and go, potentially, maybe this girl might be a volleyball candidate? Can you see some things like maybe in other sports and go, but that's transferable? What would you be looking for?
Well, obviously height is the first one, and that's just because the game from the sideline shows height. So you try to look for something along those lines.
Projectable height.
Right. Yes. Speed, hand-eye coordination. It takes a ton of hand-eye coordination for ours. But, just kind of what I like to see in my youth is those that think outside the box, that can go do something that's a different athletic movement and things along those lines. Some of our better players grew up as multi-sport athletes. Right. I wish we could get more. Man, I wish we could get my high school girls to go play multi-sports now. But
it's difficult. That's something I was talking about with my family is the pressures of playing one high-level sport. It seems like it's been ratcheted up this generation.
It is, and there's the misnomer that you think, well, I'm going to upset this coach by going and playing another sport instead of being in the off-season practices and things like that. But there's so many studies that show, an athlete needs to go play, in my opinion, needs to go play other sports so they can learn how to win at a different level, learn how to, go expose something different.
Well, another thing I think about is if you're a star in your primary, it might be good to be a supporting player in a secondary sport so you realize what it's like not to have maybe all the pressure on you, or to realize I've got to play a role. I'm not the dominant force. Say in baseball and basketball, I'm average, but I'm still useful.
Very true. And also the conditionings are different. Volleyball, 30-second rally. Basketball, you may be in a three-minute sprint. So the mindset and the conditionings are different, and I honestly think it makes you a better, well-rounded person. But that's coming from somebody who played multiple sports.
Well, what I was thinking about was that it seems like volleyball, by starting in 4th, 5th grade, is a later start than, say, softball, basketball, or perhaps soccer. So you might have a disadvantage in that respect that they've tried others, but then again, you can look at it as an advantage that they've tried others. It's all how you look at it.
It is, and I've had long conversations with Mattisville's coach. They don't get them till 7th grade. So, at least I get them a couple of years through Youth Incorporated. I can get them a little bit earlier. But it's one of the reasons why we have to wait a little later is there's so many different movements. It's not just swinging a bat or kicking a ball or shooting a ball. You've got to know so many different athletic functions to make this sport work, and that kind of weighs
limits
against
when
us.
you can start.
Right.
But at the same time, it sounds like you've got a great idea of what you're looking for, and now that, we're going on the year, almost a generation now of success, you have people who are drawn to volleyball and are probably just waiting for the time to get into it.
It is, and kind of what I've said is once you come in a gym, you're hooked. It's so much more movement. It's, was talking to a parent this weekend, and they were excited that it was inside in the air conditioning, not out in the elements. So, if whatever
it's a draw
victory,
to the parents,
right,
perhaps, there.
whatever victory I need to get your daughter in a gym, I'll take it. So,
absolutely.
It's such an exciting sport. There is kind of what I saw was a couple years ago, it took over the number one female involved sport in the nation. And one of the Penn State phenomenal hitters was a multi-sport player growing up, and she said, volleyball allows me, I don't have to go, run around and get sweaty, and bump into other girls. I'm not rolling around in the dirt. I'm not doing things. I can wear a pretty bow in my hair, but I can go hit somebody in the face with a ball. So, I get the best of both worlds.
All right, so a lot going on. Volleyball playing in the district tournament next week over in Madisonville. Soccer teams will be over in Madisonville. So if you're a Caldwell County fan, Madisonville is your destination for next week. We need to get to a break here on the Sideline Report, and we'll be back with more right after this.
It's the little things, like turning October into Pink October at Goodies and Peebles. It all starts Friday with a 4-day Pink Friday Doorbuster event. And get ready to be tickled pink, because your age equals your savings on in-store clearance purchases. That's as much as an extra 80% off clearance. Plus, our first 30 guests Friday and Saturday could win a special shopping cart. And while you're here, you can help us give back with a donation to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Goodies and Peebles. Little things mean everything. Goodies and Peebles are part of our Stage family. Offer exclusions apply. See store for details.
By the time that we got up there, his room was filled with smoke.
The wind had blown and drifted the snow up against the side of my house, blocking the exhaust from my furnace.
I heard the smoke alarm going off in my friend's apartment.
Without the kid's smoke alarm, my son would not be here today.
And had it not been for that carbon monoxide detector, they would come to school and not have their teacher there.
I grabbed my fire extinguisher and put out the fire.
Kidda makes technology that saves lives.
Get these essential products at the Home Depot.
Are you looking for a bank that still has old-fashioned values that will offer you the latest technology and banking services? Take a good look at Fredonia Valley Bank, located in Fredonia and Eddyville, a full-service, real community bank. If you're needing a new construction, checking, savings, certificate of deposit, or IRA, look no further than Fredonia Valley Bank. Good customer service is what we've built our reputation on through the years, and it's what we continue to stand by each day, with locations at 602 Cassidy Avenue, Fredonia, and 226 Commerce Street, Eddyville. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, this is Dorsey Ridley. My roots in Western Kentucky run deep. It's where I learned the importance of helping your neighbor, whether it's fixing a road or standing with teachers or other workers in the halls of Frankfort. I've always had your interest in mind. Together, we can continue to improve the quality of life for all Kentuckians. I humbly ask for you to vote for me, Dorsey Ridley, on November the 6th so I can keep fighting for quality education and good jobs. Paid for by Dorsey Ridley for State Senate.
U-Ride in Princeton is proud to sponsor the Sideline Report each Thursday on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. Go on out to U-Ride on Marion Road, ask for Dave's Deal of the Week. It's usually the Spotlight Vehicle of the Week, and it's waiting for you at U-Ride. Dave Harden is the sales manager at U-Ride. Go on out and ask to test drive Dave's Deal of the Week. It's at U-Ride on Marion Road in Princeton. Give them a call at 270-365-3018. U-Ride of
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street,
Lock
Princeton.
in your price for the winter by taking advantage of Fortner Gas Company's pre-buy and levelized billing programs. The pre-buy contract allows customers to pre-purchase propane based upon previous year's usage. At a fixed price per gallon, you can prepay for the gallons you would like to purchase for delivery after October 1st. The level billing option allows you to lock in the price of your propane without making payment for the entire pre-purchase at one time. A fixed price per gallon is contracted for delivery after October 1st and divided into 12 monthly payments and deducted from your checking account or credit card. Fortner Gas Company, Princeton, Cadiz, Murray, and Madisonville.
Whether it's a new addition to your home, a family vacation, or just keeping up with the bills, let ABC Finance and its friendly staff help you with your needs. ABC Finance can help you get through the tough times and the good times. Whatever life throws your way, ABC Finance can help. So stop by and see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia today at ABC Finance, located on 62 West, the Princeton Plaza in Princeton. Phone 270-365-7444.
You're listening to WPKY 1580 103.3. It's the Sideline Report with Todd Griffin at 8:35. Already warmed up to 76 degrees. Want to remind you the deal of the week at U-Ride. 2015 Dodge Journey. It's a local trade-in, low miles, gray in color, just $14,000. The 2015 Dodge Journey, the deal of the week at U-Ride, a proud sponsor of Todd Griffin in the Sideline Reports.
And we're back on the Sideline Report. Daniel Courtner, the Caldwell County volleyball coach, is with us today, and Gary Goodacre of the Times Leader football crew is in with us. So it's a busy show and lots going on. We are going to get to the baseball playoffs in a bit. We're going to talk a little football, but back to volleyball for just a little bit. And the Lady Tigers, again, just a huge match up at Henderson tonight against the team that has really pretty much kept Caldwell County from grabbing that regional championship trophy the last 3 years. And Daniel, you're going back up there again tonight and seeing how you stack up with this year's Lady Colonel bunch.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good test, and kind of what I want is I want to go ahead and get the nerves out. We see them one time a year, and that's in the biggest match of the year. So let's go ahead and get that nerves out. Let's get a look at them face to face and see where we stand this time.
Well, you talked about the girl at Henderson County that's so good. I've mentioned it all year to you that I'm impressed every time I see our team play, just the level at which they play and just that players keep coming through the system, and you just keep having good teams after good teams.
Yeah. This year we are led by two phenomenal seniors that have put in Shaden 4 years and Caitlin Conway for 5 years with our program when Shaden moved here as a freshman. They've been moved around positions last couple of years, trying to fill out roles, trying to fill holes and things along those lines, and they've really stepped up both as leaders. I walk into practice a lot of days and tell them, this is the 3 things I want to do today, and then I kind of just move around and coach as we go and let them run the drills for us. But both of those seniors were led on the outside. Our Shaden Allen has got 268 kills on the season already. Moved her about 1st of October last year, moved her from the right side, which doesn't get set very often, to the predominant outside hitter, where you get a lot of trash balls. You get a lot of balls that aren't perfect sets, but hey, we need a good swing from you. And I told her coming into the season, I need an extra 250 swings out of you this year, and she's met that goal and is already 5th in the all-time in kills. And when you look last year, I think she was somewhere around 14th or 15th. So in 1 month and 1 season, she's just become an offensive explosion for us and really been the energy to get a match started for us up front. Caitlin Conway is one of the most underrated players that you could ever imagine. She can get the opposing team out of system she's mastered our power throw, what we call a power throw, power dump, and has mastered that. A couple practices ago, we threw hula hoops out on the floor and said, hey, let's see who can hit that. And she was just time after time, sinking a ball in a hula hoop on a 30 by 30 square foot floor. So, we've got 2 phenomenal leaders from the top. Volleyball, if you're familiar with it, it's kind of ran. I run it defense first. I'm a very defensive minded person, and we're led by our libero Riley Thomas. It's her first year at that role, a sophomore, and she's got 441 digs this year. And a couple weeks ago when we played Madisonville, their libero was diving all over the floor, and we were having attacks bouncing off of her, and everything was just a great match by her on site. But when you go back and watch, Riley was just over there making the same amount of digs and matched step for step, and really does it under the radar. And
makes it look easy.
No, she does make it look easy, and that's one thing that you lose sight of her from time to time because you've learned to trust it, and you can be on the defensive side of a rally for 4, 5, 6 attacks, other side just booming attacks off of you, and then all of a sudden one good dig and now the momentum's ours. And that's what she's done such a phenomenal job this year of stopping the big hitters from the other side. And she's going to have a big test tonight with Hannah, and I'm gonna stand her up and I'm gonna brag about her, because I trust that she can handle that role. Abby Griggs is our other middle, and it is the position's called middle blocker. So many times this year we've faced top-notch teams to where your block has got to start your defense for you. So it's kind of limited how much can we have her open and available on offense. So her offensive numbers are not as big as what our outside hitters would be, but 172 kills. The other night, Adams from UHA was their big hitter. She blocked her 3 times on match point, and just kept deflecting shots and moving things, and then finally got the block kill to final the game. And so many times this year she has changed momentum with her defense. Our setters are Savannah Tays and Kendall Prowl. And those 2 young ladies are probably some of the smartest and strongest setters I have seen. They run a little different style offense, just speed-wise. One can throw a high ball up for power, and some of that is what hitters are they setting at that time. It's rare in high school that you'll run a 2-setter offense, but when we've got 2 at that level, I'm going to expose that and use multiple hitters with that. So both of those young ladies, and they're leading us in serving, they're leading us in points won, and really do a good job at keeping the floor calm and getting a hitter, getting a hitter hot. And then if we start to tail off a little bit, they're good leaders for that.
Well, like I say, I think they do a phenomenal job, and it just keeps coming from the Lady Tiger volleyball program year after year. Everybody needs to get out and check out this team. There's no more home games this year, but district over at Madisonville would be a great time. The great thing, you're in the championship game at the district. You're in the region tournament, so that's a great position to be in for your team.
Olivia Mitchell is our final sophomore on that group. She's already moved 3rd all time in kills. Been starting since she was an 8th grader. If you want to look at a phenomenal, well-rounded athlete, the young lady's touching 10 foot. So
she cannot be far behind anybody in the region as far as player of the year kind of things go, because she's got to be right there.
She is, and I think some of what may hurt Henderson in the voting is they don't come south very often. They've only played, I think, 2 or 3 actual region teams outside of their district, so that may hurt them a little bit. But Olivia is just so balanced. For a basketball player to get a double-double, she gets them in volleyball between digs and kills. So, and I think there's multiple positions that she could play that I don't play her at. So, there's 300 kills already on the year and has really paced us as we go.
Well, she's got some power behind her hits, too.
A lot of power. And we've worked a lot on the torque, on the core and the torque of muscles and things along those lines, and timing, and I don't know that we can set a ball too high for her to go hit. So, she's got some power up there, and still she's barely 15.
Yeah.
So I don't see where it comes from sometimes, but she's really coming out of her shell and really wanting to show out a whole lot.
Well, one of my favorite things every year with the volleyball program is taking the pictures before the season starts, because with volleyball it's become a thing where we have to top last year's pictures every year, and so this year we had the 2 seniors sitting on the top of fire trucks.
Yeah, that was a fun day. I was so nervous that something would happen in the town and we would need that fire truck while my girls are standing on top of it. But that kind of goes back to that. Hey, I can be a beautiful young lady, and I can still be who I want to be on the outside. And when it comes time to get into a match and throw my knee pads on, then I can go be aggressive. And they walk that fine line so well. But picture day is always I already had tryouts, already had cuts, and then this whole new team comes walking in with their hair all curled up and makeup on and things like that. I don't recognize half of them sometimes.
It's always fun. It'll be interesting to see what we can all come up with for next year.
We're always open for ideas.
Absolutely.
And they're good students as well, aren't they?
They are. If you go asking stats, I asked Miss Farmer the other day for district and postseason things to turn into the GPAs. I've got 19 kids on the roster. Unfortunately, the 6 middle schoolers don't qualify for a high school GPA, but I've heard phenomenal things about those 6 student athletes. Our 13 who do qualify have just shy of a 3.7 GPA. 4 of those 13 have a 4.0.
Yeah, that's great.
So that goes back to, and I try to stress to them in off season about you are a student athlete. You need to get done with the work, but that really kind of just allows us to kind of have free movement. And then, hey, here's a weekend off. Let's go do your studies. Let's make sure we got everything going. But for nearly a 3.7 GPA. Shows how smart they are, and that means I'm not out there teaching basics. I'm not out there saying things twice. I can elevate what they learn. That really helps me as much as an athlete.
And that will open doors for them to play at the next level. It'd be awful if a young lady wanted to play at the next level, had the talent, but they don't have the grades or
Absolutely.
They don't have the ability to pursue something, because you say these young ladies are coaching everywhere. Well, I'm sure a lot of them are probably teachers in a school system. Not all, you're not a teacher, but many of them are, and that gets them a foot in the door. If they walk in and go, do you have a volleyball opening? I'd be interested. That may get them the job that they're looking for because they're willing to fill a role that the school system wants.
Right.
So a lot of these doors are going to be open because of these academic achievements.
And it's real nice to have connections in the elementary school. When you can have alumni come back and teach in the elementary school, they're on the girls, walking down the halls at that time when
when you have a volleyball sitting on your desk, I think that should help.
It should.
What's this? Oh, let me tell you for the next 30 minutes what this volleyball is.
And one of the crazy things, and I was not a strong math student, but one of the crazy things about volleyball is the amount of geometry. Everything has an angle, and every action has a reaction. There's so many different ways that you can apply school into
and you're
this
talking
sport.
to a math
Yeah, I know.
professor.
And the numbers that he's going to like is they send a ball over to a 70% passer, who sends it to a 90% setter, who sends it to a 30% hitter. So out of 100 balls, I should get 19 points just off of that math. Well, when we're rolling around somewhere now at about an 80% passer to a 95% setter to, I've got 3 hitters who are hitting close to 400 this year.
Now you're
starting
getting into the 30s.
So now you're starting to look at saying, okay, I'm also serving at a 90% clip. My opponents, by me moving you out of system, your numbers are going down, mine are going up. We'll let the math win the ball game for us.
Well, October is a great time of year. Again, district tournaments coming up in Madisonville next week. 7th District Soccer is Monday and Wednesday. 7th District Volleyball is Monday and Tuesday. So if you're a Caldwell County fan, put on your blue and gold and get over to Madisonville next week. It's also a great time of the year because, again, so much going on. The baseball playoffs, Major League Baseball. This is, the postseason is where it's at in professional sports. And, I'm in here with a couple of Cubs fans and a Yankees fan, and my Cardinals didn't make the playoffs at all. But I know your Cubs fans are a little disappointed, but you guys got there, and Daniel's Yankees are still going, but
I got 7-2 last night over the A's.
And I
didn't have much drama.
Well, when you hit a ball out of the park, it's
first inning.
Yeah, but the good thing is I got to bed earlier than the Cubs fans did the night before. So
thanks, Daniel. Thank you. It didn't go 13 innings, but
I did like the 2 163s. I think that added a really exciting opening day Monday because you, in essence, had a double elimination tournament. One of those 4 teams was not going to make it, and it looked like, well, we know who didn't. And the thing about the Cubs, I think that they never really believed they weren't going to win the division, and when Milwaukee ends the year basically on like a 9-game winning streak, I think they didn't. Who's going to figure on a 9-game winning streak? They figured they had the division. It was just a matter of time, and I think they were shell-shocked that they had to play Monday, and really shell-shocked that they had to play Tuesday.
Well, a little shock and all there, by the way the Brewers finished the season, for the Cubs, but the Cubs had to play so many games down the stretch because of weather. Everybody kind of ran into that this year, but because the weather was so bad early in the season, a lot of those games got pushed back to the end of the season, and it was just a mad dash for everybody to get to the playoffs or try.
But I'll say this about the Brewers, they went and got people. They got Yelich. They got Kane. Then they got Moustakas and Scope. They went all in. And I think they realized their bullpen was their strength. They weren't going to get the starting pitchers. In fact, they're bullpenning today, I believe. I think they're bullpenning their first game, the Milwaukee Brewers. Sometimes you just got to look at a team and go, if you're going to bring in these people, then the people who are there get this uplift that they're going all in. I better be giving my 100% effort as well. And now they've got home field to the National League playoffs.
The Rockies and Brewers, I believe, play today. Yes. The other National League series is Braves and Dodgers. That'll be a good one. In the American League, it's Indians and Astros. And, Daniel, your Yankees are playing the Red Sox. How about that?
Well, the exciting thing is right now, if you go back to 0 when you start the playoffs, we've got more wins than the Red Sox for the first time in a very long time. So that's bragging rights.
But the Yankees actually played the Red Sox very well in the season series. The 8-game deficit, they were 162. Red Sox won 108. They didn't do well against the bottom of the division. They did not gobble up on the Baltimores and the Torontos. And there's your 8 games. So if I don't know if that was just bad matchups, didn't play well, injuries. I think they're a lot closer than the 8-game deficit that the Yankees had in the regular season.
I think so, too. And I think they alluded to it last night. There wasn't any really 4-3 ball games between Boston and Yankees. They were 10-2. You know, and that makes it hard to really sit down and say, all right, when we start doing postseason pitching and matchups and things like that, how do you match up to stop a 10-2 and make it a 4-3 with bullpen games and things like that?
It's going to be an interesting series, the Yankees-Red Sox. I actually think that both American League series are extremely compelling.
Yeah.
Probably, I think they may both go 5, and I think it's going to be a war of attrition just to get to the World Series. The AL champion will have been tested.
Right.
Well, I was going to say that I was kind of pulling for the A's because some random guy put down $1,000 on the A's back early in the season when they were 250 to 1 to win the World Series. So I just kind of wanted that guy to have, a nice postseason.
You weren't pulling for Voit?
Well, there are so many Cardinals on postseason rosters that you're almost like, why didn't the Cardinals just keep these guys and be in the playoffs themselves? But, yeah, it's fun. I mean, Colorado's got a couple. Holidays on there.
Yes.
Sang-Wan Oh.
Oh, yeah, he's on the he pitched.
Piscotty was an A.
Yeah.
Piscotty, he was a Cardinal. Of course, he was traded because of family
Right.
situation.
So the big question, who's in the World Series and who wins it all, guys?
I can't go against them. I figured it'll be I think the Braves are going to be impressive. I think that early pitching staff and the youth, I think they're going to get a good buzz. I'd like to go Yankees-Braves, go old school a little bit, and have the Yankees winning in 6.
Gary?
I think the Braves are a year away. I think the Dodgers will eventually take that series, but I'm on this Milwaukee train. I liked from the beginning that they went and got these players, and I think that the bullpen is going to be just fine for them. I think they're going to bullpen their way through to the World Series where they fall to the Boston Red Sox. Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, if we don't get outmanaged, that's going to be the hard part.
I've been impressed with Cora. I've been impressed with their offense, and I think this is an offense that can hit about any pitching you throw at it. I think it's Boston and Milwaukee, and it'll be a very interesting series.
Well, like you, I'm going to go on that Milwaukee train and pick the Brewers in the National League. And I'm going to go with the Yankees and make Daniel happy in the American League. I think the Red Sox are going to have a whole lot of pressure on them in the series. The Yankees have no pressure. They played the wild card game and won. Boston won whatever it was, 100-something. 108. So I think all the pressure's on the Red Sox in that series. So I'm going Brewers over Yankees, though, in the series.
And you talk about going and getting people. We went and got Happ for the sole reason that he shuts down the Red Sox. And we saved him, so now he should be able to pitch twice in a 5-game.
One more question, though, about this wild card thing. What do you guys feel about the wild card in general and the one-game, winner-take-all playoff?
It just doesn't feel like you're really in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how you can go have a big party in the clubhouse afterwards. Now you're in the playoffs. I'm still old school. I think the playoffs start now.
Well, I would like to see them do at least a 2 out of 3, kind of like the NCAA Super Regionals do. But I'm kind of like you. I don't understand the popping the champagne after winning one of these series or games because you haven't really won anything yet. If you win the National League Championship Series, you are champions of the National League. You get a great big trophy that says National League Champions.
You won a pennant.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I understand celebrating that, but an NBA team doesn't have a big celebration after winning a first-round series. An NHL team doesn't. I mean, you just advance.
Right.
You don't really win anything.
Kind of go back to the Patino days when he didn't want to cut down the SEC net because he was coming back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
This isn't the one we wanted to win.
I'm real radical. I have a crazy idea. I think that you go to a 154-game season. That gives you the idea of some time. You play best of 7 for 3 rounds. But to keep the money flowing, the teams that don't make the playoffs, you seed them to play during the first round so they still get their time and money. The first round, you play all 7 games regardless. That way it's a 161-game season. They count the statistics for that round, and everybody will play 161 that way. It's radical. I'd love to spend more time with it, but I think it would produce a truer champion.
I do think Major League Baseball at some point is going to tinker with the divisions, the schedule. You're probably going to see a 154-game schedule again. I think they're going to mess with the playoffs, and who knows what the future holds, but It's just different. It's like watching NHL hockey during the regular season and then the Stanley Cup playoffs. Baseball's the same way. Once you get to the postseason, I mean, everything is just ramped up. Every pitch is right there. I mean, it's just a great time of the season.
About 20 years ago, weren't they playing a whole season to get from 21 NHL teams to 16?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're playing all this time to eliminate 5 teams.
Well, and now you've got 10 Major League Baseball teams in the playoffs. When I was younger, there were 4. So, and back in the day, there were 2. So, but making more people eligible for the playoffs keeps more people in it, gets more people out to the stadium. They make more money that way.
Money, I was wondering if you're going to get to that.
And that's the way professional sports go. We need to take another break here on the Sideline Report, and we'll be back with more Talking a Little Football right after this.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Mostly sunny today. We've got a chance of an afternoon shower after 1 o'clock at about 20%. 86 for the high. Tonight, a low of 67. That slight chance of rain carries through tomorrow with a high of 88. And Saturday, Sunday, a chance of an afternoon shower at about 20%. A high around 87. Columbus Day Monday, sunshine and 86. Again today, a high of 86 with a chance for an afternoon shower.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Farless Realty.
Get spruced up with quality mulch from Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road in Princeton. We all know that buying mulch by the truckload saves money, and it's only $25 per load for dark natural mulch at Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road, 1/2 mile past City County Park. Bashir Sawmill also buys standing timber and timberland. Give them a call today, 270-365-2330. That's Bashir Sawmill, family owned and operated in Princeton for over 50 years.
This is Danny Patton with Farmers Bank and Trust Company. Our new Lyon County branch is now open. Come in and see us for the same friendly service and the names and faces you know and trust to provide you with all your banking needs. We're now ready to serve you at 28 Commerce Street in Eddyville. Open Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4, Fridays 8:30 to 5, and 9 to 12:30 on Saturdays. Stop by today and experience banking at its best at Farmers Bank and Trust Company, member FDIC.
We are back on the Sideline Report. Daniel Kortner, the Caldwell County volleyball coach, is with us this morning, and Gary Goodacre from the Times Leader Stat Crew is in the house as well. And thank both of you guys for coming in this morning. If we didn't get to that earlier, I really appreciate you coming by. And want to get to a little football now. Caldwell County with a big game against Trigg County at Tiger Stadium this week. Gary, you're the numbers guy. Can the Tigers wrap up the #1 seed with a win this week?
I believe with a win and we need help in the other game. The other game is, who is it again? Fort Campbell and Union?
Yes.
If Union wins, I believe that does wrap it up. So a Caldwell win and a Union win, I believe, will clinch us the 1 seed. If Fort Campbell were to win, there's still a crazy scenario where there could be a tie among Tillman, Fort Campbell, and Caldwell on paper. Practically no, but we could have it with help. So that'd be nice, of course, to have it official, but if you were a percentage person, you're in the high 90s right now that it's going to happen.
The Tigers are looking pretty good, though, for that district championship, a #1 seed, and at least 2 home playoff games, potentially 3 if things work out, the way Caldwell County fans hope. Noticed in the paper this week all the homers went with Caldwell again.
Well, as for you're talking about hope, the way we get a 3rd home playoff game is to play a team from our district,
right.
Paducah-Tillman. What do you want? I mean, do you want Paducah-Tillman, a team that's played us and is familiar with what we tried to do, but it be at home? Or do you roll the dice? Would you rather go to E-Town, assuming Elizabethtown beats Tillman, but play a team you haven't played this year and one that isn't what it was in previous 3 years? By all ratings I've seen, Elizabethtown is not as highly rated as they have been the previous 3 years. And in 2 of the previous 3 years, we acquitted ourselves well against them. Only last year were they really, truly the dominant team.
E-Town, the best team over that other district, though, I think. LaRue County's probably #2.
Although by the scores on the Litkin House and the Cantrell ratings, LaRue does not have quite the ratings that they had even last year.
Yeah.
It's not inconceivable that the Trigg Union winner, who will in all likelihood be the 3 seed, would have a very reasonable chance of going to the 2 seed over there. And like Ballard Memorial did about 3 years ago, we play a district opponent in round 2.
Well, Trigg County will be here Friday night at Tiger Stadium. It's the 139 Bowl. I mentioned earlier it's the longest continuous rivalries on both teams' schedules. The teams have played every year going back to 1947, which goes back farther than Caldwell County High School does. It was Princeton Butler back then. As a matter of fact, that's just how far it goes back every year. The first game was in 1938, which was 80 years ago. So that's how long the Tigers and Wildcats have been hooking up. Caldwell County has had the better of the series in recent years. The 139 Bowl was actually established in 2013 and a traveling trophy introduced, although since that time, Caldwell County has won every year, so the traveling trophy has stayed in Princeton.
But interestingly enough, the year before that, 2012, was the last time I believe they defeated us in a rain-shortened event.
Lightning game. It's the Lightning game.
Lightning game.
Caldwell County folks will remember that as the Lightning game.
However, we were very happy that we made a good run after that game. I believe we were 2-2 after that game, and we took off like gangbusters and made it to Bowling Green. So Trigg County's always been playing us well. They definitely have the motivation, because even if they don't win, I think they need to have a measuring stick game against us, because Trigg County's got to look at themselves in the mirror and think, we've improved. Even if we don't beat Caldwell, we can beat Union. We might be able to get a second-round playoff game. They want to see if they can build off of this game and maybe have a winning season and maybe have themselves a better run.
Well, if the Wildcats watched the first half of last week's win over Union County, well, they really think they have a chance this week. Now, the second half
last week, let's hope that the D-line continues its second half play, because they're going to have to eat up blocks, and they're going to run the ball, 75% of the time, Trigg County?
It looks that way, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, they're probably going to, if I were Trigg, look to see if there's any over pursuit on our linebackers. Do we have discipline, or are we going to freelance? Because if we freelance, I think they'll try to exploit some second-level holes and try to get some gashes on us like Union a couple of times did. So our linebackers are going to be the key to this game.
Yeah, I thought the Braves came in last week and really played a good first half, but it was an expected letdown of sorts for Caldwell County. We didn't expect it to be that bad, but the Tigers, going back to the second half against Crittenden County, had played really well that game, had played really well against Henderson County, played a great game down at Paducah-Tillman, and for all we had heard about how great Paducah-Tillman was this year, Caldwell County dominated that game. It was 37-14 at one point before Tillman added a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and by that point, the Tigers are just kind of playing out the game to get out of there, but Caldwell, I really thought, was the better team in that Tillman game and played really well. So you come off a win like that, and then you've got a team that maybe you think you're supposed to handle pretty easily. You can kind of see the letdown coming.
We were the better team, but I'm glad we're playing these run-heavy teams, because I believe we are going to play Paducah-Tillman again, and I think we need to. I think it's good blessing in disguise. We're getting Cameron and Travion some time at linebacker. We may have to rotate linebackers a lot to get through these run-heavy opponents. And Paducah-Tillman's going to try to find some things on film, because, let's be honest, they didn't really have an identity against us. I think Paducah-Tillman over the next weeks is going to try to figure out who they are, but they may even play against us. I think they're going to set up the whole rest of their season to figure out what would work, or what they believe would work against Caldwell, because Murray did the same thing to us. Duncan played the first game to get to the second game. I do not believe Tillman did that on purpose. I believe they tried to beat us in the game at Paducah-Tillman 2 weeks ago. However, I think now that it's over, they're going to look at that as their first shot, and I believe we're going to see some different things. So if we just look at the Paducah-Tillman film and assume they're going to do that again, I don't think that's going to be what they're going to do. Yeah. They're going to try to figure out some other stuff.
This week, it's Trigg County at Tiger Stadium, the 139 Bowl coming up. 7 o'clock kickoff at senior night, the last home game.
True.
After that, we just got 2 more road games left for the regular season. Who can believe that?
With a bye in between.
Right. At Fort Campbell, a week off, and then at Mayfield. So that'll be fun. Speaking of football, though, a big game for Kentucky coming up this week at Texas A&M. Do you guys know the big connection between Kentucky and Texas A&M in college football?
I'm out.
The Bear?
No.
I did not know he was there.
Yeah, he went from Kentucky to Texas A&M.
He went there before he went to Alabama.
Yeah.
I knew he obviously went to Alabama. I did not know there was a Texas A&M stop in between.
Kentucky playing in College Station for just the second time ever.
Night game.
Yeah, 6 o'clock on ESPN. And, of course, the football Wildcats are ranked 13th in one poll and 15th in another. But did you know the football Wildcats are number 4 in the country?
Playing Indiana, who's number 2.
Defeated them last night 3-0 in Lexington. Nice. So the UK soccer team making some noise.
In the MAC, is that correct?
No, they are now in Conference USA.
I knew they were not in the SEC. So Conference USA.
UK soccer team men are now 9-0-1, and the SEC does not sponsor men's soccer. So Kentucky used to be in the MAC. That's why you see all those MAC games on the football schedule, because of all those connections when Kentucky was an associate member of the MAC. Now it's a member of Conference USA in men's soccer. So there's something maybe not everybody recognizes.
But with a win over Texas A&M, you've pretty much almost guaranteed that the game versus Georgia would be for the SEC East crown and a trip to Atlanta. But even without that, there are some very good bowls in play, and I believe that any bowl in Florida, if we can at least be 9-3 UK, will be clamoring for the Big Blue Wave to come down and stay in their hotels and eat at their restaurants.
Well, looking at the Times leader predictions this week, everybody but Chris went with Kentucky. I was going to get on him about that Texas A&M pick. I'm not sure. So, Gary, maybe you'll have to speak for Chris on that one. I don't know.
I have never spoken for Chris because I can't speak enough. But I'll speak for myself. What I see in the defense is I see it's going to be very hard for Texas A&M to score even at home. I think that they're probably going to be able to play off some excitement, and they've probably got a couple of plays that they think will work. But in the end, I believe we're still going to be able to run the ball, and my score was 24-21. I think that's going to be typical of the type of games we're going to play against the better competition. Against Georgia, it'll probably be in that realm. We may lose that one, but if we're going to play to the level we played in the first half against South Carolina and the second half against Mississippi State, that level of football, those two halves, very few teams in America will be able to handle us if we play that way.
That should be a heck of a game, and I think Chris probably used a little reverse psychology there. That's why he went with Texas A&M. That's what I'm going to go with.
But isn't it funny how we go from watching the Florida game going, all right, how are we going to lose this one? How are we going to lose this one? To saying we can match up with Georgia.
Oh, we're Kentucky fans. You know, it's a holdover from basketball.
Right.
Like I said before, the Wildcats could be playing the Boston Celtics in basketball, and we'd be talking about how much we were going to win by.
Right.
Well, in football, it was not. We beat South Carolina. Why were we so conservative in the second half?
Right.
We should have blown them out. So we just won't want wins anymore. We want blood.
Yeah. Well, a big week in sports. Big week this week. Big week coming up. The district tournaments are next week. Everybody get over to Madisonville. Again, soccer's Monday. Actually, volleyball begins Monday, but Caldwell County's not in that game. Caldwell will play Tuesday on the championship. Soccer championships are on Wednesday. Do want to throw a shout-out to Fonzo White, new boys basketball coach at Bishop Lures in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fonzo was a manager on the Tiger basketball team when I first started doing the games on the radio back in the early 90s. And then his senior year, the Tigers were a little short-handed, so he actually played a little bit that year. I think that was 92, 93. And he's been coaching for a long time now and has a head coaching position, boys head basketball coach at Bishop Lures. And I didn't know anything about Bishop Lures, but congratulations to him. I know he's got his work cut out for him, but always had a great basketball mind and always enjoyed talking to him. He's one of those kids that would always come up to you before the game and talk and was excited about sports. And, you know, great to see him doing well, and mentioned it 100,000 times that I always love it to see Caldwell County and Princeton folks doing well. And there's a bunch of them out there, not just in sports, but in a whole lot of things. And congratulations to Fonzo White for getting named boys basketball coach. And thank you guys for coming in this morning. I know,
it's been
Gary,
a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a last-minute thing, but glad you could jump in. And Daniel, good luck to you guys, and big matches coming up, and look forward to a long postseason run.
Same. Hope to see everybody over at Madisonville Tuesday night.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for the Sideline Report. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPK.